Hey there, I'm Christiana Vespucci, founder of CCT and full-time believer in people doing beautiful, healing, fabulous things in the world. This is The Good Tea, a podcast where we're spilling goodness. Each week I'm highlighting someone who's out there making a real impact, strengthening communities, healing through food, building second chances, or quietly keeping the soul of a city alive. These are the stories that don't always make the headlines, but absolutely should. They're warm, real, sometimes messy, and always worth sharing. So if you're into people who show up with heart, purpose, and maybe a compost bin, pour yourself a cup and join me. This is your weekly sip of soul. This is The Good Tea. Welcome back to The Good Tea. I'm your host, Christiana Vespucci, founder of CCT and Wellness. And this is a space where we talk about what it really means to live, not just exist. Pull up a chair, pour yourself something good, and let's get into it.
Hi, Christiana.
Hi, Jing. I literally love your energy. Jing is living in Cleveland, born in Manila, and has lived a good amount of time in London after college. She's a brand story strategist for executive and entrepreneurs. She's figuring out their next thing and her next thing. And Jing Lauengco. She is a wonderful light, and I am just so happy that we are getting to do this.
Oh my gosh. And thank you for the light that you bring into the world through this amazing podcast. I'm so excited because I know when you talked about launching this, I just love how we met too. Do you want to talk about how we met?
I love how we met.
Okay.
Yes. Well, we met at Verbena.
Yeah, we
and Verbena.
Yeah.
In Ohio City.
We love Molly and the team, family at Verbena. Yep.
She was on the podcast
Yes,
as well.
yes. I still remember her orange sweater. Yes.
It was very cute.
Hey, Molly. Yeah.
And you were chit-chatting with another awesome podcaster.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Portia Booker,
Yes,
I think is
yeah.
her name. And she talked a lot about trauma and grief and how to turn it into your power.
Yes,
a little
exactly.
bit. And I just heard them talking, and I was like, oh my god, wait, can we be friends, please? I love all of this. And you were just such a wonderful light of yeah, this is what I'm doing. A very energetic, which I love because you're such a doer. And it just drew me into you. And we've been friends ever since. And then I kept coming to your rally, or not the rally. Yes, the rally.
Oh, Wednesdays for Women.
Wednesdays for Women.
Which became the rally, so we can talk about that.
Yes, the rally.
Yes.
Which is your latest project.
Right, which is why we're here in this beautiful space in Ohio City,
Yes.
the matriarchy. And I just want to shout out to you is that, oh my gosh, to this full circle moment where you are here doing the thing. And so I know you are always such a joy. Coming into Wednesdays for Women, we literally would do a happy dance, which we have called the Abund Dance.
Yes.
Manifestation.
Yes.
We saw Alan Watts together, which was super spectacular. But I will say to you, I'm so glad that you were on that high, at the bar in that high chair, and we're there, and I could feel your energy too, and it was like zzz, zzz. And a lot of the work that you do is around community building, which I feel in my heart and which draws me to you and your community. And we became friends. We were really advocating for each other and sharing what we believe in. And you had shared with me that, hey, I'm thinking, I think maybe at Wednesdays for Women, that you wanted to start a podcast. So
Yes.
Wednesdays for Women is every third Wednesday, 6:30 at Verbena. We've been doing it for over a year now. So the first one was January 22nd. 2020, 2025. Yes, so it was 2 weeks after the inauguration. I was just feeling like I needed a circle of women around me. So I had piloted this idea to Molly, who's amazing, and she's like, yeah, let's do it. And so we started doing it. First it was, third Wednesday of the month. I had done some mornings at 9:30, but then we just pivoted to 6:30 because that seems like when people could make it. But you had mentioned wanting to start this podcast, so I had shared that I do a framework called Next Thing Now to help people figure out literally their next thing now, where to start, how to think through it with someone almost like an accountability partner where you can share your bravery, your fierceness, but always being kind to yourself. So I think, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah.
I had shared some frameworks with you around the
did.
workshops that I do, which are actually happening here at the rally, usually the first Saturday of the month. But how the frameworks, do you want to talk about that?
I wouldn't even be able to like do this right now if it wasn't for you, because it helped me so much think about how to lay out the podcast, how to do the podcast, how to all of it, all of the parts that is like the pre to sitting down with somebody and actually doing the interview, because there's a lot of stuff that happens before the interview, and so you really helped me kind of like build that out and be able to like think about it, where it's like, oh my gosh, I have this idea, and you know you have to do like 20 different things,
right?
But where do you start, and what's the order of operations? And I know. Thank you so much for helping me with that.
It was delightful. So I have a podcast as well called Next Thing with Jing. And it is, I started it in the pandemic, actually. We'll get back to that. But what I wanted to share, Christiana was awesome. She was really ready to go. And I had asked her if she wanted to see some of the workshops that I do for executives and entrepreneurs who are next thinging it, whatever that is, doing a 2.0 version of their story. So it could be, I really think about stories as an infinity loop. So there's a personal brand, Christiana, and then the project, which is the sort of professional brand around good tea. So it's a way to think about really everything as a story, which is marketing, which is selling, but it's really story stacking, story sharing. And so I help you and others think about, I call it the 5WH.
The 5WH.
Yes, who, what, where, when, why, and also the 6 Ps, which is who are your people, what's the potential that they're seeking with you. You're the bridge, right? The gap. Thinking about the problem you're solving and hopefully co-creating the solution. So what's the package, what's the positioning, what's the point of view? So this is my favorite thing to do. And so one of the things that we do in these workshops are really deep dive and have you, I really act more as a mirror. I'm part cheerleader, champion, and challenger. And it is exciting because we're really co-creating in real time. It's almost like improv. Trying to figure out, okay, how do I show up for myself? How do I speak about myself? And how do I share this new story? So part of this is practice. It's like throwing the ball back and forth with your podcast. It's so awesome to see you creating the thing that's in your heart, from your head to your heart. And that's a lot of the work that I do, is just allowing, hopefully, the people that, you know, I'm honored and privileged to be able to work with, this safe, sacred space, a safe circle. Because a lot of times I just had a talk with someone, I ran into someone at a coffee shop, and we're friends on Instagram or some social, and I'm so glad she came up to me, and kind of like you know, she I must be really loud, because she came over and said hi, which was lovely. Hey, Kim. Anyway, she had just said that, you know, I'm kind of in between. I didn't really, you know, I would love to cut your Wednesdays for women, but I really am not in my executive space. She's taking care of, you know, love and light to her, taking care of a parent who is elderly. She has 3 little ones. And so she would like to have a community, talk about community building.
It's very important to do that work.
Right, but really Wednesdays for Women and the rally are about connecting. I created it because I don't like networking. I actually love people, and it energizes me. Some people are like, okay,
I need some time. Exactly. I can't do this. But then there's people who bring you life.
Exactly. So we probably are more like that. We're energized in this extroverted space. But some people are kind of like, I'm in between. And that's why I created Next Thing Now, is because the goal is to just next thing it, whatever the it is. So that's really what I wanted to, you know, share with you, is just shout out, send the light back to you. It's so exciting for you to see you bringing stories forward through your own story, which is all a co-creation, right?
It's all a co-creation.
Yes.
Yeah, so much of life is in between. So figuring out what's next can be very hard and challenging.
Right.
So to help people with that, it just eases the burden.
Yes. And so much of this, and we kind of talked about this before we started the podcast and the recording, is I really needed to step into rooms where I didn't know how to talk about myself. I didn't want to be seen. I didn't really want to show up. I didn't know how to. So this old life had kind of melted away. So I can share a little bit about this.
Yes,
in that,
please.
yeah.
It's a really great story.
Oh, well, thank you. And we all do. We're just not used to sharing it, right?
Yeah.
Would you agree?
I know, even
Yeah.
I was telling you, I'm like, I love talking to other people about themselves. It's harder for me to do.
It is, isn't it?
Even me, who's like
I know.
out there all the time.
We need more Christiana in our lives. But that's why I wanted to create this Wednesdays for Women. It's a safe space, a circle, where you practice introducing yourself to a room full of strangers, which is just you practice before you go for, I don't know, a phone interview. I also coach people. There was a client that I had, and so much is on the phone, right? Like phone interviews or Zoom. So much of what we do, and the work that I do, is personal branding and storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
Then we design map what's next, right? Whatever that is. For you, it was a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, and I'll share it with you, it's funny because I was just writing about this. You can go to juju.jing on Instagram or connect on LinkedIn. There was the anniversary of COVID and the pandemic. So I actually, like March 5th was my second cancer surgery.
Gosh.
And we all have mile markers.
Yeah.
When's your birthday? What time is your birthday?
October 25th.
October 25th. Remember that, folks.
25.
All right. Remember that, people.
When's your birthday?
Christmas.
Oh yes, that's
Yeah.
right. Exactly 2 months.
Yes, yes.
So well.
There you go. So that is actually how I started, really started. We want to go way back. I was born in Manila at a hospital called Sisters of Perpetual Help. I don't know. I looked at my birth certificate. Anyway, so yeah, it was like a hot day, humid, 7:30 in the morning, and I was born Maria Christina Lauengco on Christmas Day, Christmas morning.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's a lot like my name.
Is it? What's your name?
Christiana Marie Vespucci.
Ah,
That's
Vespucci.
wild.
I love it. So we're all born, which is a beautiful name. It's very lyrical. We're all born living stories and breathing brands. Really energy. So I always had an identity crisis. So I'm born on Christmas. Am I a holy child? Like, I could have been Jesusa, Jesus with an A. That was almost what I was named. But my aunts, my titas in Filipina, fortunately convinced my mom to not call her Jesusa. I had been a Jessie, which is, I like Jessie. But so it's funny. So my dad started calling me Jing for jingle bell. So Jing Jing. And so when I was in second grade, I think I learned the word onomatopoeia. So I was like, oh, I'm a sound, I'm an energy. And Jing, I think in Chinese means like energy.
Yeah.
So I knew when I was a very young girl that I wasn't a boy name or a girl name. I was my own name. I used to be embarrassed because I was like, Jing was such a weird name, and I was, my mom and dad had accents, and they were always, we weren't American. So I grew up in a very rural, small town, and I've always had these questions about identity and why. So I think we all do, but especially as kids in my lived experience, you're always looking for someone that looks like you. You're trying to make sense of contextually where you belong. You're looking for pattern recognition, essentially, right? That's a lot of the work that I do, is this idea of we're born a story, living brands. And really we inherit, as you know, stories, legacies, family, generations, sometimes trauma, right? I found out that I had cancer, let's see. There's history, so for all your listeners, please get checked. If it's being gnawing at you, go make that call. And if you have a friend, go with them and do that checkup. So I went because I wanted a second opinion about a mammogram. This was, Halloween. And they had me stay for like 9 hours. So this kind of typical, and they had me stay, and thankfully my friend was there with me. So it was Thanksgiving when we scheduled the taking the cancer away, which was December 9th. So that's my life day. It's called a rebirth day, when for a lot of people that have been on the cancer journey. And then March 5th was my second surgery where I had reconstruction. And then a week later was the national lockdown, or actually the global pandemic lockdown. So had I not pushed myself and listened to that voice, and I'm sharing that with your listeners, you have to put your self-care is really so vital. and listen to that voice of rationalizing, tamping it down. And a lot of times, especially as caregivers, I met your mom, who's wonderful. I was thinking about other people, and it taught me that I was suddenly main character energy. Like I had to think of myself as like the character that has to kind of step forward and advocate for myself. Yeah, so it was a journey through pandemic, and like as we all know, there was a before the pandemic and after the pandemic.
Right.
And so at the time I had an ad agency, I was a former principal, and the ad agency was decimated. There were like flash bombs, there were riots, and I just didn't know how to make sense of being a first generation kid from the Philippines, where we fit in this conversation around what does it mean to be American. And so there was a lot of noise around Asian Americans, and just, it was really hard. I will never forget, you're in bed, you're recovering, you really think all the women in my life, all my friends that just, and my family, obviously, that lifted me up during this time. So I was in bed a lot, and I just was, actually, ironically, I was in a pink guest bedroom. So it was like, you have cancer, you're recovering in this pink bedroom. And I just started writing on my laptop. And I was talking about this trip I took in 2017, again, 2 weeks after the first inauguration. I went to the Philippines. My mom was selling her childhood home in Bataan, about 2.5 hours outside of Manila. And yeah, I wanted to be part of that experience. So I went with my mom. We went there. It was with my two aunts. Love them. They have since passed. My tita Didi and my tita Ita and my tita Noli. And yeah, it was 10, 11 magical days. And we went in a white van up the coast of the Philippines, the very northern tip. And I got to see magical rice fields. Like I felt like I stepped back in time. So it was powerful. I'm getting goosebumps. And I just wrote in a journal. That is really something I couldn't stop thinking about, my own story. So it was like generations. I could feel my ancestors when we were in this van.
That's so beautiful.
Guys, thank
It's
you.
so beautiful. That's how I felt with Italy.
Oh yeah, we talk about that.
Yes.
So I just remember, we would go in the morning. There were like mercury pools of water in the rice fields, and the women were dressed in traditional dress with these like naked babies on their hip. And I would see these young girls in pinafores and school uniforms with the umbrella in the heat walking. And I just could picture it. I was like, like in a movie where it goes like,
yeah, like a
it felt like my mom and dad, like I saw everything. Because I had never seen pictures of my mom before my mom and dad only brought what they could in the 70s when they came to the States.
Wow.
Well, my dad was a doctor, a resident in Toledo, and so anyway, coming back to this trip was, I just realized we were born stories, and there were so many stories I didn't know.
Right.
Even Filipino culture. Like I feel like I'm Filipina adjacent, because like some Filipinas are so, like my friend Jenica and Stacey and a couple others, like real, and Aya, they speak the language, I understand it. Yeah. So you're always thinking as women, humans, let's say, am I enough? Am I Filipino enough? Am I American enough? And that's how I felt. I was in this kind of blurry time in those 10, 11 days. And I was just questioning identity, because I had to explain to my cousins at the time, they were watching CNN, Nilla, like, explain to me what's happening in America. Yeah. Because, explain, and I couldn't. I really didn't know. So suddenly I remember also thinking, again, stories, Asian American, American Asian. If you just toggle certain words, the weight of everything shifts, right? So, right. So it's just, and the word immigrant, suddenly, which I used to be proud of it, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah, I used to say, really took the Pledge of Allegiance very seriously when I was younger. And so it was just this idea of all the stories. I started to question all the stories after this trip. Fast forward, I started to write about it in my cancer comeback bed. I couldn't stop thinking about it. I wrote about 100,000 word memoir.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know if you knew that. Yeah, and I took.
You're just like a jack. There's so much to know about Jing. Like I'm like, okay, there's more, and it's like lovely.
And I'm sharing this with you and your listeners. Whether it's a podcast, The Good Tea, whether it's writing for yourself in the morning or a journal, like seeing yourself on paper, hearing yourself in a recording. So few of us do that, even listening to your own voice, right?
Yeah.
Getting used to listening to your own voice, especially talking about yourself.
Right.
That is a practice that we all must do, in my opinion. And so I commend you for being brave and putting it out into the world, out in the wild, right? So anyway, when you have cancer, as you can imagine, everyone's like, I had 6 months to live. I think about that a lot. I thought about that a lot. I think about it a lot now. I never take it for granted. Every sunset, every sunrise, I really try to think of seeing someone for the first time and last time. That is genuinely going to get emotional.
That's like so beautiful.
But it just, we're going to see the humanity in each other.
Yes.
And I felt that and did that in COVID because I would see, all of my Cleveland Clinic care team and the hazmats, and I saw humanity up close, the inequity of seeing in a hospital room, a hospital that is like a city, it's like buzzing on, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is happening 24/7, 365.
Right.
So all that to say, for my cancer comeback bed, I was like, what do I do? I'm a consultant. I was in an in-between place.
So the next thing.
Yeah, so I started writing to kind of capture my thoughts, and I call it like a love net, right? Like the thoughts or your friends, like it's a love net. It's a way for you to bear witness to your own existence.
I love that.
It's a time capsule. We're creating that right now. We're capturing all the words, right?
You're so cute. I'm sorry, go on.
So I'm talking a lot, but I promise I'll bring it back, is this idea of I never really held my words or looked at them in that sustained period of time. And, it was a gift, actually, cancer, in that I never slowed down. I was always going for the next thing. Mm-hmm. And part of it is also outrunning. I went through some very traumatic things as a young child, which I never voiced or talked about. And it just made me think about, just the innocence. Like, it felt like the world was losing a sense of innocence. And now we know, well, the world is, again, just unfolding in a way that we have to hold on to our light.
Yes.
Right? And see the light in others, even in the darkest, most brutal times. We have got to find the beauty. And so it was really hard for me, but that was really a commitment to myself. And part of it was this practice, kind of like doing reps. We talked about in the podcast. It's like doing reps, it's a lot of work, right?
It's a lot of work.
It's sort of an open tab all the time in the back of your brain, right?
I gotta do it. I gotta do it. It's there, like, I know, but it's still sitting there.
But I'm so glad you did, right? And so that's how I feel about writing this this memoir. So I just kind of got, because I didn't know how the cancer journey was going to end. I had a tween son at the time who was trying to make sense of identity, where we fit as a family. And so it was really for him. And then very grateful to Larry Cleveland. They saved my life. They helped me find my voice. So I took an online class and started really writing. There's a couple folks, Jen Donatelli, Brandy Larson, Matt Wycombe, just really are amazing human beings. Definitely check out Larry Cleveland. And I just started to expand, and I took a class, and then they asked me to be on the board. And this whole idea of personal storytelling, which I am pretty private and professional, all of a sudden you're kind of coming forward as Jing the human, not the executive, agency partner. So to our point, it's always this sort of fine line and toggle. Mm-hmm. Like, how much of me do I really show? The me, right? Mm-hmm. And how much is this veneer and the veil? So that is the story stacking and the story layering. It started to fascinate me around all these multiple identities and selves had to come forward to this moment for you and me. If you really think about it, it's like collapsing all those identities into right now. It's awesome, isn't it?
It's fantastic. Yeah. It's incredible. I know how much work I had to do in order to get here, and I know a little bit about how much you've had to do to get here, and I'm just so proud of this moment.
Of us, right? Because there's this, I always feel like when you meet someone, it's like all the cosmic snowflakes that will fall perfectly. Right?
They did. So
that's the gratitude. Gratitude is also this word that is thrown around a lot. But there is, I just like to think of humanity, like seeing the light in each other. So anyway, coming back to where I am today, I, alchemize a lot of things. Other Brown Girl is the name of a blog that I created from the memoir chapters because I was like, I gotta pop this up. I don't know if I'm gonna actually do a book. I went through it, I worked to pitch it, but I also didn't know how much time I had. Really, all of us don't.
Right.
It's funny to look at now, but otherbrown.girl.com, I started to pop up my own websites. I had a lot of time. I come from a design background and a storytelling background. I went to Ohio University in journalism. I just started to create and practice telling my story, putting it out into the world before I was ready. They always say ship it, right? But I had time. I remember I had my friend Jen Donatelli, she's wonderful. Creative Groove is a coach, and she actually recommended that I write an article. It was for onevillage.io, and it was a cancer. And so it was like I wrote 10 things to never say to someone who has cancer. So I pitched it, I got published. And then I took this beautiful class, thank you. Again, thanks to Jen Donatelli. She had a writing class, and I still remember we were on Zoom. I was thinking of this idea of otherbrown.girl.com. I call it that because a blog, because I'm always looking for other brown girls ever since I was little. Maybe you're looking for other Italian girls.
Yeah, they find you.
Yeah,
they find you. Like,
yes.
And even if they're not Italian, the light that you're looking for.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
See? So, Other Brown Girl, I started this blog, and it actually was born in my mind, and it's from a sketchbook to a MacBook, and Jen Jones had three editors there. So, Kim Schneider at the time, editor of Glue Magazine, Ken Schneck, I love me some Ken Schneck, like I Flame, he's a good friend, and then Coffee, who started Literary Cleveland, he's part of the land. So we were on the Zoom, I still remember, we had to go around the circle on your little tiny screens of who you are, what you're doing, what's your thing. And my thing at the time was I was starting to talk about Other Brown Girl. I was appalled, Christiane, I started to cry, talking about Other Brown Girl and my journey and all the things, and I was like, horrified. I'm like, I'm on the Zoom, like, am I embarrassed? Yeah, I was just horrified. And just what happened was the emotions just bubbled up. And to my surprise, I'm wiping away tears and trying to get myself together. Kim Schneider was like, I would love it if you share your story with me and I want to publish it. I was like, what? And so I was featured in as a creative thinker. And it was part of, I think it was Untold Stories. And yeah, I talked about it. Someone came, Hillary Beauvais, beautiful photographer for Opal rather. Yeah, came to my house and it got published. And so the story about Untold Stories, going to the Philippines, my blog, and then I was like, oh, that's so interesting. I don't really think of myself as a writer.
Wait, just from you
speaking
your truth.
Yeah, which is why I encourage you, and you just never know. So it was so unexpected. And I was like, okay, well, maybe there's something with this Other Brown Girl thing. So it was October 20th, a couple days before your birthday, which is actually Filipino American Heritage Month. I published it on the October 18th, which is Sweetest Day, which is the day my father passed. My sweet dad passed on Sweetest Day. So I was like, I'm going to publish this for my dad. And so I did. And yeah, I think Jen also told me about, I love Jen Donatelli, and you will too. She told me about this thing called Accelerate, and so it's this civic pitch competition, and there was a new category called social change. It's like, that sounds interesting. I'm just going to try it. You're going to try to figure out and map what this looks like if I had to pretend I was going to share it with someone.
Yeah.
So I didn't think I was going to do anything, and it was really something random. I got an email for the stipulation, right, for the guidelines. So I was like, worked on it as if it were a business plan.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I got to get my head in the game here. I'm just going to do this for me. And I think I fired it off at like 11:59 p.m. before it was midnight. And I was like, nothing's going to happen with that. Guess what?
What happened? What happened? Tell me.
I got 2 emails. I always joke about Rachel Chomchuk, who's amazing. Really, all of Cleveland Leadership Center, amazing team. I owe it to them too. They saw something in my story, so I was a finalist for social change and a category called technovation, technology innovation.
Oh, yes.
And so I just started practicing talking about myself, even though I didn't want to. I wanted to stay in bed. I was still recovering. It was a very tender time.
Wow.
It was during the pandemic. And so guess what? I got an email that said, you're a finalist for these 2 categories. And it was the only time in 10 years of this competition. I don't know if I told you this, but we had to go on Zoom, or we had to get usually you go up on stage. So I was like, what is this Accelerate? started feeling like, oh my gosh, you got to go on stage and present yourself.
Whoa,
I
like
didn't
talk kind of it?
Yeah, you have to go for 5 minutes. And after I got the emails, when I Googled it,
You're like, I don't know, get this. Oh my God, I go on stage.
but I didn't realize. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is legit. Literally, Cleveland was started from this.
That's
Roosevelt,
incredible.
so it was.
Wow.
And kudos to Cleveland and all the change makers and optimists. I think entrepreneurs are all optimists. So anyway, all of that to say, I've got some incredible friends, and I'm part of this beautiful tradition, and I hope you apply. So yeah, but this is the interesting thing is, I don't like to be on camera. So if you're on my juju.jing, I know, none of us do. That's why I have all these fast time lapse, because you can't really see me. And videos too. And someone told me, was like, Jing, every time you're on camera, your mouth is like, which it is. Apparently that's my happy face. Out of OCI, I was like, Jing, you're doing that thing. I'm like, I know. Clearly it's when I'm happy with people. Anyway, so I'm giggling because this repetition, Christiana, to my, like, oh my gosh, we had to do a 5-minute video recorded with a shot clock. Can you imagine?
No.
Yeah, with a shot clock. It's like a throw, I was like, oh my gosh. So
It's like you're really on television.
we did, yeah. It was the 1 year out of the 10 years that they did video. Again, imagine me in my bed, like, come back bed typing away. Like, no one's gonna read that. Like, I need to be on video, and it's gonna be a 5-minute video. So they pushed it out.
Incredible.
So I think there were 30
more
or 40
people
of them.
probably saw
Yes,
it.
yes, during the pandemic. So I'm like, what happened?
It's the Jing. I call it the Jing ring. It just goes out.
Isn't that funny? I was like,
Love it.
again, mortified. So
Love that.
from like crying on a Zoom to like suddenly, so no
Wow.
joke, this is the power of leadership and really Cleveland. I think over 300 people linked into me in the first month after I won for technology and innovation. I think there were 60 submissions, and so it was a civic pitch around using technology and at the time multiculturalism wasn't a thing. So Other Brown Girls about women of culture leading colorful and creative lives. Because I really feel like identity is not just color, it's culture. I'm always talking about being Filipino, but I'm also brown, which I'm proud of. So I said other brown girl because I have friends who are of Muslim faith, who are of Southeast Asian, Indian, Pakistani, all the things. So I was like, I love this idea of other brown girl, maybe half brown, half black. So that was really this rally cry for myself. Writing the blog, writing the memoir, putting otherbrown.girl.com, because I always was like other, brown, and girl, those 3 words, gender identity, it's also fluid. What is girl? What is, and so all that to say, it was a powerful lesson in like, you gotta do your next thing, and you gotta share it with the world in teeny tiny ways. But I just giggle because I'm like, I would never, ever have submitted this. And it was almost like this perfect teeny tiny portal happened where I'm like, it was like a just slingshot into it. So now I'm starting, people ask me about my advocacy work at DEI. I'm like, I guess I do. But it's like, but it's kind of like, I talk about this with Molly, my friend Ayman Ali. We're international women every day. I'm Filipino every day. So again, this idea of revolving identity, it's almost like cards, like, which one do I want to play?
Right.
Which one is stacks on top?
Mm-hmm.
Is it the executive entrepreneur card? Is it the, ad agency? Is it like this season of the sun? Like, I'm tired of talking about that. It's funny because honestly, we're really drawn to each other energetically.
Yes.
So I feel like, especially women in this season of their career or life, I'm like, we gotta go for it. So a lot of this is also for me, I like to say, and it's in the article, if you Google me, Cleveland Magazine, and my name, I talk about it all the time. It's like, I intend to go out like a comet.
Yes.
Like, we have got to go out like a comet. I have been in situations where my light has been dimmed and almost like just tamped down, and I can feel that right now. So the fact that the inauguration sparked a trip back in 2017 and Wednesdays for Women, I'm so proud. We have had over 300 women sign up to be part of a circle.
That's incredible.
It is, including you. We would not have met, right?
Oh,
so it was
thank
this
you.
thing. Oh my gosh, thank you, and thank Molly and beloved Team Verbino. If we don't try the thing, next thing it, how are we going to ever know?
Right.
So part of that is my hope for you. You're always thinking about, if you see someone for the first time or last time, how do we activate? How do we move? And it's not just like checking a box and like doing a thing to get like, I don't know, 10K months or whatever it is on the internet, right?
Right.
I want to see how human we can be, especially in this age of AI. So I'm actually doing a lot of work in AI and this idea of like hybrid storytelling now where there's a workforce of both AI and human. I do a lot. Actually, I can share it with you. I have a conversational customer care concierge named Chi.
Chi. I love a Chi.
I love a Chi. And I was like, oh, Chi is very international, very intersectional.
I love that.
So I share that with you, and then I'm constantly thinking about story, everything's a story. You know, every story begins really where it begins and ends, our entry point, right? Mm-hmm. So that's what I would share with your listeners and just anyone is like, you are a living story, a breathing brand. Our stories are, well, really our brands, like you. I love your energy and light. And it's like a sonar signal, like boom, boom, you know?
Yeah.
And you kind of draw people in.
Yes.
And then the stories to me are the words are like Morse code. Kind of drawing people in too. So I think of that as like the sonar signal brand essence, energy, alignment, and then stories are that like sort of Morse code. It's the power, the weight of that. Mm-hmm. So again, I'm very visual and it makes me so happy to be here with you and talking about this. Lastly, I'll say there is the design map, which is bringing out to the world this idea of connection. So I hate the word networking. So Wednesdays for Women in the Rally are for people that really want to connect and stuff, which we're doing.
Yes.
So that's what I'll say is like right now the work that I'm doing that I'm most excited about, it's almost like everything has converged and has concentrated in this moment. Started with Wednesdays for Women, helping over 300 women, you know, sign up and show up. And they're all amazing. I learned so much, phenomenal. And I get to talk about all of you and share, we get to co-create. So it's like nothing else, I promise you. Come, it's free by design, and it is the most heart-opening, intimate thing. Do you agree?
I 100%
Haven't you met a lot of incredible women?
Amazing women, and I love hearing their stories.
Yes.
That's the best part.
And it can be very tender within an hour, right? Like people are sharing so much of themselves. So it kind of has slumber party vibes.
It does. I love it.
Yeah. And so for here, I would say for the rally, that became the rally because we were getting so popular, thankfully, like 25 plus, you know. So Molly kind of said, well, you should check out the matriarchy. I said, okay, let's do it. So now I'm doing once a month deep dives. So I would say there are meetups at Verbena, third Wednesday of the month, 6:30. Sign up on my website, nextingnow.io. And then the rally are more dive-ins and dial-ups. What is one thing that you want to do? How can we activate this? So then it's a customized one-on-one workshop for about 3 or 4 hours. We'll do podcast recording, we'll do photo shoots, and really help people in a safe circle talk about the thing they want to bring to life. And we are the accountability space, the vulnerability space, and that's what I'm doing. So check it out on nextingnow.io. And I also do a lot of one-on-ones with executive coaches. Actually, quite a few clients now here with Matriarch. I just started in January at UK. One of the events was for Dr. A.B. Acton.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, so again, talking about women, their stories, advocating for each other, and making sure that we are fierce, brave, and kind to ourselves and to the communities that we're building together.
You are such an amazing community builder.
Thank you.
It's like, I explained it to somebody, Jing is like putting your arm out and she grabs it and kind of like, you know, helps you move
I
forward.
appreciate you.
And we move together. So
Yes.
I so appreciate what you're doing and who you are.
Thank you.
What you've been through in order to get here.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And it took me a while to talk about it openly and freely. I will also say, part of this is why I call myself an optimist and an alchemist.
Chief,
Yes.
an alchemist. Okay,
Thank
we got it straight. You know who you are.
Thank you. That's why women stand up for women. But it's this idea of, I you know, on a serious note, when I was 5, something happened to me. It was a neighbor, I lost my innocence, and it's really hard for me to see what's happening in the world right now. It really is. I know. And 1 in 3 women have been a story. I don't like the word victim or survivor. We have been a story of sexual violence. And I also am a story of abuse through a partner I was with for 25 years, was a business partner and a life partner. And, you know, I actually put down my microphone and my podcast when I wanted to talk about really what had happened to me. I had lived in shadows, even though on the surface, on LinkedIn, it looks like you got it, you know, everything, all the boxes are checked, but I was really, I felt like I was dying inside, you know,
Yeah,
and sometimes,
like that.
and I do believe this is how the cancer presented itself in my body. One of my clients, it works in Japanese Buddhism, and he talked about how if there's fear or this negativity in your body in Japanese culture, it becomes a demon. So you become the energy. Isn't that powerful?
Ooh, yeah.
So I can't unthink that. So I do believe that cancer was just unrepressed, like that energy in some way,
Yeah.
trying to find a way to exist, and that's how it presented. So I just offer to you, you know, what's happening in the world. I'm trying to make sense of it. This has been, as we all know, gut-wrenching, but especially for young girls who have lived through an experience where there has been trust broken, innocence taken, and no adults are speaking up, stepping up, saying, this isn't going to happen anymore. And the same with any kind of abuse of power, financial abuse. I've really had to next thing my story. It's 2.0, 3.0. I've got to reimagine.
Yeah.
So this is, for me, the deepest work of my life. I believe, I never know when my comment's going to be like, woof, right out into the galaxy. But I'm bringing everything I have to every project, if something shows up in my life and someone asks me, I try as much as I can to activate with that and like bring it into existence and bring it to life with them and co-create, because the time is always now. If someone says what time is, I'm like, now, right now. Got to next thing it right now.
Yes.
And that next thing is, I was during cancer, like next scan, next thought. I had to just like will myself to just reimagine myself bathed in light and life. And I just offer that to each of you. I'm so glad that we had this opportunity to chat. And God, look at you crying.
Just a little tear.
But I say it with I say it with conviction, fierceness, and bravery, because I'm gonna cry. There's a little girl out there that feels like her story is someone else's shame, and I don't want that for her. And there are women out there that are still stuck, and that is why I'm doing this next thing now, because you have the power to be that comment that you've been waiting for, to be that main character that you've been waiting for. I want you to practice, I want you to write, I want you to get on podcasts, apply for grants, whether you're ready or not, ship that thing.
Ship it. Ship it. Even if it's not perfect.
That's right. So that's also why I call it the rally. So something clicked in me this year, beginning of the year, kind of like what happened last year, 2 days after the inauguration. Like, I gotta rally myself. We gotta rally. We gotta do the thing. We gotta say the hard things, do the hard things, offer other people to do the same. And I gotta do that. I gotta do that so that my 19-year-old son knows his mother is not an extension of stories, the caretaker, that no, this is what happens when your back is against the wall again and again and again. Like, we are not here, again, a tagline for the rally. Less nice, more nerve. That's actually,
Less nice,
more nerve. And that's actually Georgia O'Keeffe, this idea of there are women who are fierce, Frida Kahlo, they designed their own life, they imagined a future. And that is up to us to do. We've got to put it in practice. We've got to hold each other accountable with love and tenderness and kindness. So that's what I would say is I really believe that this is the year. It's Fire Horse year.
Yes.
Yes,
it is.
but I really believe in the rally. I really believe, as I wipe a tear, your story matters. your light is not gone. I want you to step into it, feel it, know that there are women all around you that believe in you, are rooting for you, and I hope you can be part of our Circle Wednesdays for Women or the rally, or get to know Christiana. There's so much love and light right now. We have got to not forget that and just head down, bear down, less nice, more nerve, let's go.
Yes, and please get to know Jing, because she is, I mean, you've gotten to see who you are here, and thank you for opening up and showing us.
We're gonna have a big hug after this when the cameras aren't rolling. We have so many funny bloopers. So thank you, because I really believe, you know, the work that you're doing, helping women, helping me even hear myself, right?
Yeah.
And that's part of it is practice. Part of it is just being out in the wild with your work, with your wishes, that eventually they're gonna come back to you and they're gonna help other people. So thank you for having me.
Thank you for doing this.
Oh my gosh.
I so appreciate you. Thank you for coming on the good tea.
I appreciate
And
you.
you spilled all the good tea, and I could not have asked for a better day with you.
Oh my gosh, love you so much.
Love you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for listening. See you next time. Like and subscribe.